Although there is not a lot of recording that needs to be done for this lesson, because the only difference is we are now working between systems. So we are now going, not metric, you dummy head, SI to imperial and back and forth, okay? But the math stays the same. It's still multiplied by what you want over what you have. And of course, you guys, being the honor students, have already recognized the pattern. One of those is going to be a number 1, and that you get rid of. If the 1 is up there, it is divide. If the 1 is down there, it's times. Right? So let's look at this very first one. 19 meters long. I want to measure it to the nearest foot. So what do I have? I've got 19 meters. What do I want? Feet over meters. Where do I find the numbers? I go to my chart. My chart. Did I give you guys the chart? It's in the book, but I also made another chart that has everything from Math 10 on it, not just that. I haven't given you guys that. I knew I didn't give it to one class because I had a big pile of them left. See, I'm like Scooby-Doo. I can follow the clues.
Scooby-Doo's full name is
Scoobert Doo the Third.
It is?
Yes.
Oh, right.
Yes.
What's the guy, the other guy's? Shaggy.
Shaggy.
Yeah, and then,
Did you know that the man who does Scooby-Doo's voice is the same man who is Megatron?
Did you know that the guy who does Eeyore's voice is the same
Is
guy
Optimus Prime. Yes.
Wait, Megatron
Eeyore is Optimus Prime.
Megatron is the evil dude in Transformers. Right?
Yes.
The narrator in Thomas the Tank Engine?
Was the narrator.
Wasn't he the narrator?
You mean Mr. Conductor?
Mr. Conductor.
Mr. Conductor was Alec Baldwin in the American Thomas the Tank
Because
Engine.
there was one where he was
Who? Where who was?
Ringo Starr.
Oh yeah, Ringo Starr. Yeah. He was on Shining Time Station. You have the wrong Kid Train show.
Thanks, Blake.
Okay, I thought he was on Thomas the
No, he was on Shining Time Station. Okay, so on that list you find feet and meters. Are they on that list? The list didn't get over to the far side of the room?
No.
Hurtful. You guys, they're your classmates. They're not second-class citizens just because they sit on the other side of the room. Holy. I'm working for you guys. No, of course, you do not see feet to meters, but you do see feet to centimeters. How can you use that to your advantage? Right, and how do I do that, Blake? How far does the decimal move for centimeters?
In the book, there's meters.
Yes, it is in the book. I know, I did that on purpose.
Oh.
It moves 2 spaces. So the first thing you would add here would be 1 foot equals 0.3048 meters. Because it's the same thing. Yeah? Excellent. Yeah, to quote the Volkswagen ad. It is a good ad. In my house right now, for some strange reason, we have rediscovered Rock Band, and we've been playing it lately. And for some reason, my son is obsessed with the Rammstein song, Du Hast.
Oh my gosh, my dad loves that song.
My kid sings it all the time. Right? And now every time we play cards, like Rummy or something, and the number 9 comes up, he starts yelling Du Hast lyrics. It drives me up the wall. Why did I bring that up? What were we talking about?
We were talking about
Rock Band.
No.
Yeah. Yes, Volkswagen. Yes, because Rammstein is a German group. Yes. Rammstein. Nein, du hast. If you don't know the song, you're really not missing much.
Good.
But it is fun to play it on Rock Band because it is in German. And the lyrics go across in German.
So he sings it in German.
Yes, he sings it in German. He doesn't know any German except Nein and Du hast, which I think means you say, but I'm not sure. Do any of you speak German?
Who's Joy? Joy does. Who's Joy?
Who's Joy?
Who's Joy?
That's what I say.
whoa. Leighton wasn't. Gersharon wasn't. Sukmin wasn't.
I was.
Avipal wasn't. This entire Sarah. She was in Hirschman's class. I'll get it. Go for Myers. I do. She's leaving. Okay, bye. Make sure you get a good treat from the dentist, because I want it. All right, so
Every time you pick up the phone, you call yourself a gopher.
Yeah, that's what I just thought that. You keep saying go for Myers.
I thought your first name was Gopher when I heard you say that. I was like,
Go for Myers.
go for
Yeah,
You should
Myers.
say like
Go
that.
for
No,
Myers.
go for Myers.
you legit said it so like just like go for Myers.
I hear a vote for Myers.
So, the feet is what? That's the 1, because on your chart, the 1 is with the feet. The meters is the 0.3048, so we do division, and we get what? 62.3.
Yeah.
But the question says nearest foot, so what do we answer? 62.
Duh. Okay. This is for Sharon.
Okay. Here, Gersharon, I have a note for you from Miss Jansen.
You're headed to the Royal Ball.
Yes. Make sure you're home by midnight, or you will turn into a pumpkin.
Cinderella didn't turn into a pumpkin.
Oh, that was from a Cinderella reference. Okay.
Cinderella herself didn't turn into a pumpkin. Like the carriage.
Okay, guys, the joke was not that. The joke was simply that she needed to be home by midnight because she was going to a ball.
Is that where the 3 blind mice come from?
No. The carriage was a pumpkin.
No, didn't the mouse turn into the horses or something?
Number 2. How many conversions must I make?
2.
No, only one. Because once you convert one of them, you know the other one. Yes? So you're either converting miles to kilometers to miles. Now, there's a reason I wrote the question this way, because it doesn't matter what you choose. But remember on that very first day, I talked about reasonableness, right? You need to make sure, if you're going miles to kilometers, are kilometers bigger or smaller than miles? Smaller. So kilometers to miles will go smaller. Miles to kilometers will go bigger. So if you screw up the multiply or divide, you don't just blindly, like a dummy head, write down what your calculator says, because you've thought to yourself, of course that number should have been bigger or smaller. Yes? So if I am going if I'm going 62 miles back to K, then I know that I'm going to need more K. Yes? So 1.609 goes up there, and I end up getting like 99.2 or something. Great. So this was 99.7, so Hannah drove further. Aight? Aight. Now, when you are doing number 3, you have a couple of options. The reason I write it this way is because there's more than one way to do it. You could do 6 and 2/12, which is 6 and 1/6, which is 6.1667. You could turn it to a decimal. What else could you do? You could go 74 inches and turn that to centimeters over inches. Do I care what you do? No, because where is the math in this? It's in the conversion, right? So if you want to go ahead and turn imperial measurements to decimals, you like working with decimals, you can. Everybody cool? Just remember, that's not 6.2, is it? Because imperial is not based on decimals like the good metric system. Number 4, What are you going to do with number 4? How many conversions do you need to make?
Let me see. Truck driver license. 1.
1. Does it matter which one you do?
No.
No. Could you go meters to feet?
Yeah.
Uh-huh. Could you go feet to meters?
Yeah.
If you were going feet to meters, how would you personally do that question?
Probably go 11 and 9 out of 12.
11 and 9/12, which is, of course, 11 and 3/4, which is, of course, 11.75 feet. And then you could convert that to, I didn't want to put the X there, dummy, to meters over feet. If you were going on the other side, you could do that. But what is the warning that you have to be careful about when you do 3.5 meters and you convert to feet over meters, which is going to be 0.3048. I'm sorry, I did that wrong. 1 foot, 0.3048 meters. What's going to happen when you punch that into your calculator? What's it going to give you? Yes.
On the other question, was it 1 foot 0.304 or just
0.3048. What's going to happen here when I punch that into my calculator? I'm going to get a decimal, right? And I believe the decimal that I get is something like 11.6. Okay, so 11.48, which is 11.5, which is 11 foot 6 inches. That's what you've got to be careful about, right? A great many of you guys rush through your work, because let's be honest, this work is easy, yes? It would be very easy to see 11.48, round it to 11.5, and say it was 11 foot 5 inches. Cool? That's why this question is there, to remind you that it's not just about the numbers. Is everyone okay with that? All right. Oh, yeah, well, the answer is, of course, no. It will not fit. Wait. No, this one it will fit. Yeah. The truck is 11 foot 6. The bridge is 11 foot 9. You'll go through with that much room to spare.
Yeah.
You'd want to be careful. Sometimes I forget that I have a bunch of surfboards piled on my van, and I go to drive into underground parking, and I remember at the last second, and then I have to back up the ramp. Yes. I'm going surfing this weekend.
Where?
In Westport, Washington, where I always go surfing.
And then all the people there think it's snow.
What? No, people in Washington know that Canada isn't like that because it touches. People in Sumas do not look across the border and say, oh, look at those stupid Canadians living in igloos. They know.
Do they really understand?
They really do.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going to shut up for a moment, and I'm going to let you guys work through this. Should take about 30 seconds. Go. It's going to take more than 30 seconds, but it won't take very long. I will give you a couple of warnings. 1, read the measurements carefully. And 2, in miles, when your answer comes up in miles, you can go ahead and leave it as a decimal. Okay? You don't have to change it into yards and feet, because I'm not a dink. Okay? Well, until question number 9, when I am. Oh, sorry, question 12. Question 12. I do actually make you turn a number into hours, minutes, and days.
No.
I know, right?
Why?
Because I'm a tool.
The way you said that was pretty funny.
My wife has a student in her kindergarten class that giggles every time he's going to do something bad. He goes, So this poor kid, my wife came home and told us about it, and all of my family thinks it's awesome. So we run around the house, and every time we're going to do something to one another, we go, And this kid has added this to the Myers family, right? And my kids will be doing this forever, right? And this kid will never know right? He will never know that he has added something to the Myers family lexicon because we go.
That's actually pretty sick.
She's very happy about it because it's like a warning system. It's like the bell on the cat. When she hears, she knows she has to look for whatever that kid's name is. Delicious. So who's got some answers for me?
The first one is 80.45.
80.45. Why did you stop at 0.45?
Because that's all it says.
Because that's what it is. Yeah. What if it was a bigger number? Why would you stop at 0.45?
Because it's 2 decimal places.
Because who cares, right? Okay. 6.
I think seven.
Everyone screws up meters to yards. Everyone.
Those are miles.
That's meters to yards.
Seven.
One second.
Everybody screws up meters and yards.
I probably screwed this up. I'm just gonna say.
164.4.
Sounds about right.
Oh, that one. That's the one we did. Okay, never mind. I thought you were talking about 9.
7.
188.88 cents.
189. Because you'd round up, right?
What is it?
189. It's 188.89 or something. Number 8.
I didn't do it yet.
Pardon me, Leighton?
773.
773 is not a number, Leighton. That's an area code. There we go. 773.78. What's tricky about 9?
It's yards and inches.
Yards and inches, not yards and feet. So what do you got to do there? There's a couple of things you could do. What could you do with the yards? Leighton. You could convert yards to inches by multiplying by 36, yes? Could you also convert inches to yards? By dividing by 36, right? So you could also have 8 and 3/36. I like saying sixths, as anybody who's been in my class knows. So anyway, what was the answer? It's 7 something.
Yeah, 7.5. Good. Oh no, something like that. Yeah.
7 point something.
7 point. It's 7 points.
Yep. 12 foot 6 inches to meters. What can you do with 12 foot 6 inches to make it easier to work with? Why is it 12.5, Alicia? 12 inches in a foot. So you guys could just go 12.5. And I'm converting to meters, so of course it's 0.3048. I lie, I'm converting to meters. It's 1 over 0.3048.
Stop saying that.
And 11, what would I do? That's metric, so what am I allowed to do? You can put in this. Oh, my wire broke. I've been playing with it for days. Damn. Wire.
I thought you were saying that. It's just a wire that he's been playing and bending and twirling and...
Because I don't need a $10 fidget spinner. I will fidget with anything. Yes, I know, because they're stupid. There's a T-shirt that you could buy on Facebook. I taught in 2017. I survived fidget spinners, Pokemon Go, and one other stupid fad.
Oh my gosh.
One other stupid fad you guys were into. Yes, bottle flipping. That was the shirt. I survived bottle flipping, Pokemon Go, and fidget spinners. I taught in 2017. I saw another one on Facebook today. If you can read this, thank a teacher. And then it said, F you can read this, you are a teacher. Because that's what your guys' work looks like to us now. Because nobody makes you correct your spelling.
I thought it swore.
No. If you can read this, thank a teacher. And if you can read this, you Oh no, it was you probably are a teacher. That's what it said.
She told us she got a essay one time, like
a couple years because that was just all in text writing. Like there was.
Yep. I know. But to be fair, language evolves. And English teachers are holding on to the past.
Yeah, but like when you spell really like RL.
No, I know. I understand it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong.
All's in the dictionary.
Don't get me wrong. But we need to accept the fact that language, like everything else, evolves. It does change, right? Some words don't. For example, the word cool has meant cool for longer than any other slang word in the English language. And it probably always will mean cool.
Or cold.
Right? But other things have changed, right? So this is, of course, 14.28. And we're going to yards. And remember, this is the one that everybody screws up. Can't see anything? What?
Who said that?
You can't see what?
Are you blind?
Is it?
Oh, it's because I read not because
Oh, okay. All right. So it's not, as long as it's not something I can repair. Okay. Yes. 0.9144 yard, or I lie. 1 yard is 0.9144 meters. Okay, is everybody good? And whatever the answer is, like 16 point something. Or 15 point something. Everybody good?
50.62.
Great. You guys do number 12.
the bully question.
Go.
I don't want to be bullied.
Why? It's not a what? It's a bully question? Why?
Because you make us try in days, hours, and minutes.
The paper towel's there to dry your tears.
Cry me over, build a birthday dinner.
Shut down.
I think you're actually.
That Mr. Myers making us do math in math class. He's got a lot of nerve. Yes.
I'm assuming you find things way too amusing. Wait. Except when there's a course
You're still figurating.
What?
I'm gonna cry.
I know. Something was uproariously funny. I sit like 5 feet from them. I have no idea what they're talking about. Like nothing. They didn't even speak. They were talking like bats, I guess. I don't know. They're still on it. Now see, that's the story, right? The point. The question, Sarah, is asking how much time I actually spent behind the wheel. Not all in one go. Okay? Kind of like how if you waste 5 minutes in one class, it's not a big deal. But if you waste 5 minutes in 180 classes, all of a sudden you've wasted 900 minutes, which is a lot of hours, right? See what I did there? I gave them a lecture while talking to you, and now they've shut up.
It was an inside joke.
I'm well aware it was an inside joke because nobody else got it.
It was fun. Yeah. It's okay.
Just laughing because they were laughing.
Oh boy.
Because laughing is contagious.
Mm-hmm.
That's such a
I'm overheating.
That's good.
I'm crying and sweating at the same time.
The new microphone is infinitely... The new microphone, in case any of you care, is infinitely more sensitive.
Oh, great.
I was listening to that.
It's what? It's way better, I know. And there's spots at the back here, so Amshuman probably gets a lot of airtime.
Hey.
What's really funny is like the first one that you posted of our class, you could just hear you side of the argument?
Yeah, because I wasn't using the new mic.
Um,
I was using the mic on the machine, which sucks. That's why I have the new mic. You can all thank Bryce Rigdon, by the way. He bought me the new mic.
Yeah, Bryce Rigdon.
He's in grade 12.
Oh,
okay.
I don't think I've laughed that much.
Bryce Rigdon, you just
I'm gonna throw up.
He's an interesting young man. I enjoy his company in math class.
Just in that.
I like how you use Justin.
Well, that's the only time I see any of you in math class. When was the last time we hung out? Oh, right, never. No. In 3 years when you graduate.
You see some people
Not
Eh.
students, not current students. Yes, I do see them, but that's not hanging out. All right, so how far did I drive? Now, guys, by the way, I just want to call your attention to something. This comma right here, we no longer write those commas.
Yeah.
No, it's not that. But
French, that means a decimal.
But more importantly, yes, I did not drive only 11.745 miles across the U.S. That wasn't very good. He got to the end of Sumas and came home. No, I bring it up because later in this year, I am going to give you a test that lists a few numbers. Something like that. Okay? It's not a big number. They're commas. All right?
So the 3 separate numbers?
Yes,
Okay.
it's 3 separate numbers. But in this case, that should not be there because it should be that. So what is my conversion?
Okay.
over miles, 1 mile is
1.649.
So how far did I drive?
18,897.71 kilometers.
Excellent. Now, what do I do to figure out my days and minutes? Lauren.
Well, first you divide the distance you went by 85 kilometers.
Why?
Because that's how fast you were going.
Mm-hmm.
So you just divided it to segments of that amount.
Absolutely correct. So each hour I went 85 kilometers, right?
And then
So-
you can get something along the lines of
That would be
222.32.
0.33, because I think it's 325, isn't it?
326.
Or 326. Okay.
Hours.
All right, hours. Now, I need days. Now, we haven't converted days because it's time. We've only done distances. But does it change?
No.
Of course not. Hours, I multiply by what I want. Days over what I have. Hours. Which one gets the 1?
The day.
1 day is 24 hours. So since the number's on the bottom, it's divide, yes? So that's 9 point what when you hit it into your calculator?
26.
26. So right now I know I'm 9 days. Not 9 bays. 9 days. So what then must I do with this 0.26?
That's 0.26 of a day.
That's 0.26 of a day. So what is the next measurement with which I wish to work?
Hours.
Hours. So now I'm going to convert to hours when I have days. 24 over 1. What do I do there?
0.26 times 24.
To get what?
6.24.
6.24. 6 hours. What do I do with that 0.24?
You take it and then put it into minutes.
0.24 hours. Now I want minutes over hours. 60
minutes is equal to 1 hour.
So what do I get?
0.24 times 60 is 14.4.
14
minutes.
minutes. 0.4. Could we go one further? What would we do?
4 seconds. 0.4.
0.4 minutes times, I want seconds over minutes, so it's 60 again. 0.4 times 60? 24. So I could have gone to 24 seconds. Does everybody understand? I can just keep stacking conversion on conversion to get rid of decimals. Do I need to do that in metric? No. Do I technically need to do it in imperial? Yes. Why am I doing it for time? Time is neither metric nor imperial. So why did I have to stack these conversions?
Because it's the magical formula that works for everyone.
That's true though. But
Kind of. That's why as a math teacher I wanted you to do it. But why did we have to do it even if we weren't in math class? Blake. Yeah, because time is just like the imperial system. It's not based on 10, is it? It's based on 12 and 60 and 24.
It's based on 6.
Right? What else? Gummy bear to anybody who knows the other thing that we measure in minutes and seconds. That isn't time. Lynn?
That, circle and what's that? Geometry.
Yes. Angles are not measured, they are measured in minutes and seconds. 60 seconds in a minute, 60 minutes in 1 degree of an angle. Because angles are 360 degrees. Like a clock.
Look. Yeah.
Should I say it slower?
wait, so there's
Okay. The maximum amount of degrees you can have is 360, yes?
Yeah.
So it's like a clock. So we divide it into minutes and seconds, like a clock. Understand? When you nod slowly, you fool me. Yes. You get it. I do. Well done, Makar. Thank you, Myers.
I knew you were gonna say that. Oh, sorry.
Okay.
So sensitive to laughing now.
So you guys do 24 and 25. And what time will that take us to?
30 minutes. 30, yeah, exactly.
24 and 25 will not take us to the end of the day. I could give you your first quiz.
33 minutes.
I know you do. Go! I'm going to give you your first quiz today. Then I'll have all my grade 10 class in the same spot. It's a pop quiz, but that's okay because it doesn't count for anything.
Oh, really? That makes sense.
We've been over that. What?
No, that's tomorrow. It's not on the board.
It's not on the board, so I wasn't going to do it. But I might do it. Depends on how this goes. Yes, go. Yes, go. Make sure they're correct. Yeah, yeah.
Wait. Just a second.
Ya is a song by Kendrick Lamar. And he goes ya 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 ya.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Du hast.
What does it actually mean?
Hey, I
do
did
pause?
that.
I think it means you speak, or you say, or something. There's the next 6.
No, it's so good. Me and Justin are gonna make music.
No, wait, go back. Okay. Carpet.
Hi, welcome to McDonald's. How may I help you? Kayla, hi, welcome to McDonald's. How may I help you?
Sam's having another one.
Number 8 is actually a bit difficult because, of course, you only know the yard. So you know it's 89 cents for that much of a meter, so you had to find out how much it was for 1 meter. So you had to cross multiply. And then this one, you could leave it as a decimal.
I only know the food
done.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to quiz tomorrow when you walk in the door instead of a warm-up. I'm just going to take a moment to talk about the quiz, and then we're going to actually move on. We're going to do a little bit of background to tomorrow's work to get it out of the way. But first, quiz. I remind you all, your quizzes this year will not be worth marks. I am trying to find a way to strike balance between giving you guys feedback and assessment that is low stakes. So if you're having a bad day or whatever, it doesn't affect you. But I still want you to not be surprised by what is showing up on tests and things. Also, I find that you guys, especially you guys in pre-dip, if I give you a 10-question quiz, you treat it like it's your final exam, and if you do badly on it, you're going to fail the whole year, and you come back crying to me, oh my God, I need to do a rewrite because I lost half a mark on this quiz. So I am trying to strike a balance between the two by giving you the same amount of quizzes, but not counting them for anything. So you use them as the barometer for your learning that they are designed to be. What I mean by that is when unit tests come around and we have written 3 quizzes for that unit and you bombed the first one, that means when unit test time comes, that's how you focus your studying. I will be putting them on Check My Mark so you can see if there is a trend. And each quiz will have a title on Check My Mark. So let's say you lose your quizzes, because I give them all back to you. On Check My Mark, it will say Unit 1, Quiz 1, Conversions. You got 4 out of 12. So that means when unit test time comes along, you will study conversions. And when finals come along, you will study conversions from the first unit. Does everybody understand? So those of you that stress and grind for every millimeter of mark, you needn't worry about quizzes. They are there to give you basically a study guide for the final, because you will get all your quizzes back and you can use them to pinpoint your own review. Okay? Okay. Yes. Yes, of course. You never have to memorize conversions and things like that. Not the numbers. No, because this is not a class on memory. If it was a class on memory, it would be called Memory 10. It's called Math 10. Alright. Everybody good? Alright, please turn to page 27 in your bookie books. You will do a small bit of drawing today. That is one of my least favorite fonts. I wish I would get rid of it.
Which one?
That font.
What is it called?
Bats and Dragons.
I thought you loved that one.
No, I've changed my mind. I find it too difficult to read.
Like handwriting. Handwriting's really good. That's if you don't know how to write.
If you guys were taught handwriting. But sadly, the people that are in charge of education feel that things like handwriting are not important because they only see school as utilitarian, meaning if it's not useful in the real world, you should not learn it. But of course, if you learn handwriting, you actually learn fine motor control, which actually has tons of applications in the real world. For example, would you want somebody cutting into your heart whose printing looked like this?
That's what most doctors' printing looks like.
Doctors aren't surgeons.
What does it say? Does it say drought?
It says front.
Oh. You're pretty close.
Handwriting is only hard to read when people start taking their own like artistic ideas.
F.
How the letters should look.
Ah, well.
I know.
Would have been effective if I'd had a better machine. F-R-O-N-T. If you practice handwriting and you are forced to handwrite and you are given marks for neatness, you learn fine motor control, which is very, very useful. Yes, Sarah?
Another use for handwriting is if you really good at writing handwriting, you'll be better at reading it, and then you can understand what your grandma's saying when she writes the letter.
That is absolutely true because grannies still do handwrite.
This is Russian handwriting.
When I write my own for myself, I tend to handwrite.
This is Russian handwriting.
It's Russian cursive.
When I am writing for myself. When I write for you people, I print. Even though I could write much faster with handwriting. All right, background time. Describe that measurement. What was that, Leighton? Okay, it's a line. Excellent. Why? Goes from one point to another point. How many dimensions does it have? One. So it's a linear measurement. Because no matter what I do, it's the same measurement. Right? One dimension. Now what is it? Two dimensions. What two dimensions would you call them? Which would you call length? The long one. Which would you call width? The short one on the sides. What if I turn it this way? Is the side still the width? No. Now what is it?
The bottom and top of the width.
Where's the width?
The bottom.
Bottom and top, and the length is now the sides. Why?
Length.
Because you were taught that the length is the longer measurement. Yes? Okay. What is the point of this? Does it? What if I have it that way? Doesn't matter. Because the names given to the sides are arbitrary. Yes? You were taught that the longest side was length. Right?
Yeah.
What if I put this as a rectangle on the table? Now what is the longest side? It's at the bottom. What would you call it? The base. What if I turn it this way? Now what's the base? The bottom, the short side. Do the names matter? No. They are there for convenience sake. Everybody cool with that? Excellent. That's background. You need to know that. How many dimensions do we deal with in math class? 3. What do we call them, Lauren? What are the names that we have given the 3 dimensions with which we will work? We've already said 2 of them. Length. Width. Height. Right? If something has length, width, and height, we say it has 3 dimensions. Right? Okay. So the first thing we are going to talk about are prisms. They have 3 dimensions, 3D shapes. They have an L, a W, and an H. Now the problem with L, W, and H is it changes, doesn't it? If you were to build a box to put me in, and it were to come down out of the ceiling like a magic show, what would you call the measurement from the floor to the top of my head? Why? Because it's from the bottom to the top. What if, once I was in that box, you tipped it over? Now what's the height? You tip me over that way. Now what's the height? The width is my height. Okay? But when you go to the license place to tell them your height, are you going to give them this measurement or this measurement?
This measurement.
This measurement. What if you were in space? What's your height?
The same.
Toe to head, which on Earth is top to bottom. But in space, there's no up and down. But you still know what the height is, yes? So again, I bring up the point that names for sides and measurements are arbitrary. They mean nothing. They are only there to differentiate from the other sides. Okay? So don't get hung up on length, width, height like you have been hung up on length, width, height in geometry classes in the past. Okay? Okay. Define for me a prism. Now, this is always fun for me because I'm going to say, who can tell me what a prism is? Go.
Dang.
Nobody can tell me what a prism is? That's a pretty simple question in math class. My daughter went to that concert. She said it was good. Leighton.
Let's say, repeating, like when you take a paper, right? You take paper and you put it in stacks of paper. Then what you call that stacks of paper is a prism because there's multiple, like.
So what Leighton is saying is if I take this piece of paper, which has how many dimensions? How many dimensions does this piece of paper have?
Technically 3, but 2.
No, 3. It's got a length, it's got a width, and it's got a very small amount of depth. It has 3 dimensions. If I repeat this very small and thin rectangle, I build a new shape. What do I build? A prism. So a prism is simply a repeated shape, or 2 identical shapes separated by rectangles. Yes? Because if I take this one piece of paper and I stack it up, I get a rectangle, an identical rectangle, and I get 1, 2, 3, 4 rectangles separating them. Yes? Excellent. That is the most basic kind of prism, a rectangular prism. There is a special kind of rectangular prism which we call what? When all the sides are the same.
A cube.
A cube. Now, the question becomes, can I have other shaped prisms? Like what?
Rhombus.
A circle prism. What do we call a circle prism?
Here.
A cylinder.
Oh.
Because of course, that's a circle. That's a circle. 2 identical shapes. And what are they separated by? A rectangle. Right? Sarah, you agreeing with me now? I no longer have to wait? We'll finish it tomorrow. Almost got as far as I wanted to.